Hey guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. All right, I am really excited for today's video. It's one that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and it's one that I've been asked about before, and it just kind of took me a while to really get my thoughts together on how I should do it, or like, not how I should do it, but how I should rank these things. And so basically today's video is me talking about the pain levels of all of my piercings. I get questions all the time. Oh, did that hurt? Well, duh, someone shoved a needle through me, so yeah, it kind of hurt. People look at my piercings and they're like, wow, you know, you must not feel anything because you've got so many. And just, no, I just like them. You deal with the pain. But so I thought I would do a rundown of every single piercing I have or have had, except for my lobes, because no one cares about lobes. They don't feel anything. I even have like a list with notes about each piercing. I will also have pictures that'll go over here just so you know which piercing I'm talking about, so I'm not constantly doing this. But yeah, so a little bit first before I get into my rankings. I'm doing a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least painful, 10 being the most painful. I will say right now, I don't have any 1s and I don't have any 10s. I haven't gotten any of those yet. You know, I don't want to just throw out a 1 or a 10 willy-nilly, and I don't think I've experienced one of those. So just know that there are no 1s and there are no 10s. Also keep in mind that I have a really high pain tolerance. I mean, can't really say much else about that. I don't experience pain for piercings or tattoos like other people do, so I have a pretty high pain tolerance, so just also keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that everyone's different. So yeah, I may say that something is a 4 and you may have that piercing and thought it was a 9. Everyone's different, everyone's body reacts differently to it, everyone's piercer is different, so just take that as you will. There is one other piercing that I will not be discussing, and that is my original Helix, which I'm pretty sure was on this ear over here. And I got that way back in like 2007, I wanna say, at Claire's. Clearly it's not still there. So I will not be discussing that one, mostly because I don't remember it, other than I remember it having to be removed with pliers when I finally took it out. So there's that. I am going to go in chronological order of when I got each piercing. I'm going to tell you what the pain level was when it was done, as well as kind of like the pain level it was while it was healing, because some of those vary a lot. So let's just get into that. So the first one up is my right nostril. That would be this one right here. I will also have pictures over here. So my right nostril was the first one that I got. I got that done March 25th, 2016. And I would say that it was about a 4 getting done. I will say that I would not go back to that shop for a piercing. I would go there for a tattoo. In fact, I have. I've gotten 3 tattoos from there before, but I would not go back for a piercing. This place is known for their cheap piercings. Sometimes you get what you pay for. My right nostril piercing is fine now, but it did have a bump on it for a really long time. So healing, I would actually say it was a bit of a 5. So the actual healing process and pain was a little bit worse than the piercing itself. A bump finally went away. Like, I did salt soaks on that thing. It was awful. It finally went away when I went to a dermatologist and he shot it with something. I don't even remember what it was that he shot it with now. I had like a bump over here, and he took that same stuff and he shot it in there and it just disappeared. Same thing with the bump on my right nostril. So yeah, finally went away after that. My next piercing was also that same day, which was my belly button or my navel piercing. Also done March 25th, 2016. And I would actually give the initial piercing a 2. And see, that's where I vary from other people, because a lot of people talk about how painful it was to get their belly button pierced and how if given the option they wouldn't do it again because it hurt so bad. Mine was a 2. Now, keep in mind, this is the only piercing on this list that I no longer have. And I didn't have it very long, like not long at all. It was taken out on my birthday, which was April 5th. The initial piercing was painless. like practically painless. But like I said, I'm not giving anything a 1 or a 10. However, it was done incorrectly. I am not gonna insert a picture over here because I have a whole story about that piercing going completely wrong. So I will put that over here or here. I think it's here. I think it's over here that the little pop-up thing comes up. So if you are interested in that story, you can go check that out too. It got rejected, I would say. It was also severely infected. I did everything correctly, but it was pierced incorrectly. So my body rejected it. It was extremely infected. I had to go to the emergency room for them to remove it. And it was a nightmare. So because of that, I'm giving the heal-in a 9. Even though it was never fully healed, it was removed April 5th, 2016, and it was done March 25th. So really was not there a long time, unfortunately. But yeah, so it was not a good time. Next up, we have my left single helix. For some reason, I always thought this one came before my nostril and my belly button, but it didn't. It came on April 16th, 2016, and I'm gonna give it about a 3. It was very uneventful. I got it done the afternoon after I ran a 5K. I ran a 5K, I came home, took a nap, and then I went out and got this one done. It was very uneventful. However, the bump on it took forever to go away. I don't know what it is with me and these bumps, but it took forever to go away. I did everything correctly with them. It just took forever. So I give the healing about a 5. It never hurt, but the bump was just such a pain. Like, it's finally completely gone 2.5 years later, but it took almost a 1.5 years for it to be completely gone. So it was just a pain, and not a big pain, but just kind of aggravating. Next up is possibly one of my favorites. That is my conch over here on my right ear. Got that done August 12th, 2016, and I'm giving that a 3. That is another one that a lot of people say hurt really bad, and I'm just like, it didn't for me. Again, high pain tolerance, I hardly felt it. To me, it wasn't nearly as awful as people think it is. It never even developed a bump. So healing wise, I'm giving it a 2, because yeah, it was sore a bit, but it never gave me any problems. I mean, this is by far one of my most favorite piercings. It just never gave me an issue. Like, it had a little bump on the back, never got one on the front, but it did have one on the back, but it was so tiny that I didn't really notice. And it just completely uneventful. Like, I wish I could have more stories like my belly button one, but at the same time, I'm glad I don't, so. There's that. Next up, we have my tragus, my teeny tiny little tragus over here. And that was done September 10th, 2016. And I would say it was about a 6. And the only reason why I'm ranking it a 6 is because I have such a teeny tiny tragus and it's in such a tight space that the piercer had to do a little bit more finagling, and it itself was not bad. It was just more of the clamp and trying to make sure that everything would fit correctly. However, I will say that even though it wasn't bad to get done, the healing was a bear. So I'm giving it an 8. I can remember this being one of the worst to heal. It developed the weirdest blood blister on the back. So on the inside here, there was a really bad blood blister, and it hurt to touch and it hurt to clean. And I can remember, and I think I saw some posts like on Time Hop where I saw, you know, posts from years gone by where I was talking about how every time I tried to clean it, I felt like I was gonna pass out. And so to me, I'm just like, whoo, bringing up those bad memories. I honestly don't remember how I finally got it to go away. I want to say that I had my mom change out the jewelry initially. The blood blister was there, and she was like trying to undo the jewelry, and she's like, you have a really bad blood blister. And I'm like, just take the jewelry out and let's see what we can do. When she took it out, that thing obviously had so much pressure behind it that it popped and just bled everywhere. And so we're trying to clean it up and everything, and then she's trying to get a piece of jewelry back in, and I'm freaking out because she can't get it back in, and then we finally get it back in, and I'm like sitting there boo-hooing. It was just a hot mess. So the actual piercing wasn't that bad, but the healing was awful. Oh my God, terrible. Next up, we have my right double helix over here, which was done November 26, 2016. And I would rate that a 7. So a little bit above the Tragus. Now the only reason why I'm rating it that high is because it was 2 piercings back to back right next to each other. Like did 1, did 2. And at the same time, you know, you do 1 and because they're so close together, it's very hard to miss it. And so when the piercer was doing 1, that was fine. But then when they did the second one, they didn't like hit the first one or didn't like bump it, but there was pressure there. And so your ear's already mad at you and then you're gonna do another one. I mean, my ear felt like it was on fire that day. So the only reason why it was a 7 was because it was 2 piercings back to back and that close together. Healing, I would also bump that to an 8. It got super infected roughly 2 weeks later. I don't know what happened, but my mom and I went to a concert in Hershey, Pennsylvania to see Shinedown and Five Finger Death Punch. It was our first time seeing them and it was perfectly fine going into the venue. But when we got back to that hotel that night, my ear was so swollen, like the whole thing was so swollen. I was in tears, I could hardly sleep. I felt like it was going to explode. I thought I was gonna need to take it out and we were gonna need to like drain something. It finally went down, like the next morning, it didn't hurt as bad. It still looked pretty bad, but it didn't hurt as bad. And then finally after just taking Tylenol, like clockwork, it finally went down. Still have no idea what caused it. I don't know if maybe the loud music or if there was like some kind of bacteria in the air, but it did not like that concert. I was not a fan. My next one would be my absolute favorite piercing ever, my septum. I love this piercing more than anything. It would be the last one I would ever take out because I love it so much. So this one was done March 4th, 2017, and I am giving it an 8 for being done. Now, the only reason why I'm giving it an 8 for being done is because the needle kind of sort of got stuck halfway through the sweet spot. I'm pretty sure the piercer was like fully qualified, fully whatever. She was a different one than we were used to. We were used to a guy at this one shop and it was this girl and she was really sweet and everything, but something happened and the clamp got like, the needle got stuck on the clamp that was in my nose. So it went through the sweet spot and then all of a sudden it just got stuck right here. I mean, not right here, obviously, but like directly back. She's like lifting my nose up and then finally gets it through and it's fine. It didn't bleed. It wasn't the end of the world, but just because it got stuck for that brief second, I'm sitting there going like, okay, this is it. Also keep in mind, it is through my sweet spot, but I have a really tiny sweet spot. If you don't know what the sweet spot is, it's this space like above your cartilage in your nose that's a little bit more fleshy. So I have a smaller one. Some people have bigger ones so it's easier to find. Not me. Mine was small. Healing wise, I'm giving it a 2. So even after all that issue, it never got infected and it never hurt. Like it never got crusty either. I don't know. It was like the most perfect healing process. Again, I'm not giving anything a 1 just because nothing's perfect, but it was definitely a 2. There was like no issues whatsoever and it's absolutely my most favorite piercing. So anyone that tells me that I look like a bull or look like a cow or a pig with the ring in my nose, you know what? Cool, whatever. Next we have my Daith or Doth or whatever you want to pronounce it, because everyone likes to comment, you're saying it wrong. Well, everyone says it differently, so I'm going to cover both of my bases by saying both. My date was done June 3rd, 2017, and I'm going to give it a 6. Again, the only reason why I'm ranking it a 6 is because that space in there is really tight. It's really snug. That's the only reason. And so it took a lot of finagling. The girl that did this one, different from my septum, she did this one, she was spectacular. Like, was amazing. If it hadn't been such a tight space, that probably would have been like a 2. She was that good. But because it took a little bit more maneuvering, it made me go, a little bit, but it wasn't bad. However, my most viewed video on this channel is how I healed my Daith piercing, or Doth piercing, whatever. I have to give the healing a 9 for this wonderful, wonderful jewelry. Y'all see that I'm trying not to curse in this video? I'm trying to be family friendly. That sucker got super infected. I will also put the card over there because it is my most viewed video on the channel, I think. Pretty sure. So if you want to go see that, how I healed this bad boy, you should do that. So yeah, I give it a 9 because it got super, super infected. I thought I was gonna have to take it out because I just thought it was never gonna get better. It finally is. And it's got this really cute jewelry in there. Expensive, but cute. And long story short, the reason why it got better was because I lanced it with a sanitized thumbtack and then drained it. I do not recommend, but it worked. Next, we have my left nostril, which was done July 7th, 2017. I'm gonna give that one a 3. There was literally nothing to it. It didn't even bleed. It so uneventful. Healing, I'm gonna leave it at a 3. It did develop a bump, but it was nothing like my right one. It went away after a few salt soaks. It wasn't bad at all. Next, we have my Rook over here, which was done March 25th, 2018, so it was just done this year. I am going to give that one a 6. Again, like the Daith Doth and the Tragus, it only hurt because it was a tight space. Not nearly as tight as these two, but it was still pretty tight over here. So that's the only reason why it gets a 6. Healing, I'm gonna give it a 5. And because it's not a year old yet, I don't consider it fully healed. So it still has a teeny tiny little bump on the top hole. The bottom hole, perfectly fine. Gets a little crusty now and then, but no bump or anything. I will also say that it still gets sore. So like right now, touching it, it gets a little sore. Nothing like it was. It did have some pretty awful bumps in the beginning. I chalk that up to the jewelry. I have to use certain types of material or metal. So that's what I'm chalking it up to, because once I changed it to titanium, the bumps like drastically reduce, even though there's still like this little tiny one that kind of crops up every now and then. Like some days it looks perfect and then the next days it's like, no. So healing, I would say a 5. And it's still healing to me. That's just how, that's the name of the game with cartilage piercings. And finally, my most recent addition, which is over here, it is my left mid helix one. This one was just done like 2 months ago on September 15th, 2018. I'm giving it a 4. There was nothing to it. It just, I don't know. I will say there was a slight pinch, and I don't know if that's because it's kind of hard to describe it, but it's like on this bridge area right in there. So there was like a slight pinch, but it wasn't painful. So I give it a 4. Healing, I mean, obviously it's still healing because it's only like 2 months old, but healing so far, I'd say a 2. A bump hasn't developed yet. Someone knock on wood for me. Hasn't developed a bump yet. Hasn't gotten sore, it gets crusty, but it's 2 months old, so duh. But yeah, other than that, it's been a breeze. So yes, those are all of my piercings. Their pain levels and their healing levels, I guess. I've been toying with another one. I don't know if it's gonna actually happen, but I'm toying with high nostril ones. So I guess we'll see. I've also been toying with an industrial piercing, but that would require me to retire something from my ears, and if I did, it would probably be this single one over here. But we'll see. I don't know what 2018 will bring for piercings. I will not be getting anything most likely for the rest of this year. I gotta save my money. We got Christmas coming up. I gotta buy gifts. So I probably will not be getting anything else for 2018. But you never know what 2019 will bring. If you have any questions for me, like the train choo-chooing outside, please leave them in the comments below. If you want me to kind of go into detail a little bit more about any of my piercings. I do have a video for almost all of my piercings, which you can find on my channel. But if you've got something simple, leave them in the comments below. Let me know your pain levels. Like, do you have any of these, and were they like horrible for you and apparently they were fine for me? Should comment that. Anything regarding piercings, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so hopefully you found this interesting. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button wherever it may be, because I don't know, even though I do, so I just continue to say this. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really, really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys!